The diplomatic summit on Kepler Station had been 3 cycles in the making. Representatives from 17 different species gathered in the Grand Conference Hall. Their various breathing apparatuses, environmental suits, and translation devices creating a symphony of mechanical hums and clicks. At the center of it all sat Captain Sarah Chen, the sole human representative, looking remarkably unremarkable in her simple Navy uniform. Ambassador Zelthara of the Vorthan Empire studied the human with compound eyes that glittered like fractured emeralds. The Vorthans had ruled the Outer Rim for millennia, their reputation built on cunning diplomacy and, when necessary, subtle elimination of rivals. Today's negotiation would determine mining rights to the Andorian cluster, resources worth more than some planet's entire GDP. "Before we begin," Zelthara announced, her voice carrying the authority of 1,000 conquered worlds, "it is customary among my people to share a ceremonial drink with our negotiating partners. A gesture of trust." The other ambassadors nodded appreciatively. Such rituals were common in galactic diplomacy, though most species had learned to bring their own refreshments when dealing with the Vorthans. A sleek service drone glided forward, bearing an ornate chalice filled with a liquid that seemed to absorb light itself. The fluid was so dark it appeared to bend space around it, occasionally flickering with what looked like dying stars. "This is Kethmoran," Zelthara explained, her mandibles clicking with what might have been amusement. "A rare delicacy from our homeworld. We consider it an acquired taste." The crystalline delegate's form shimmered nervously. The gas-form ethereals retreated slightly in their containment fields. Even the notoriously brave Caridian warriors seemed to find something else to look at. Everyone in the galaxy knew about Kethmoran. It wasn't just poisonous, it was legendarily toxic. One drop could dissolve through 3 inches of military-grade armor. A single sip had been known to kill a Thuarian war beast, creatures so hardy they could survive in the vacuum of space. The Vorthans were the only species capable of ingesting it, and even they required extensive genetic modification and cybernetic liver enhancements. Captain Chen looked at the chalice with the same expression she might give a cup of coffee. "How thoughtful," she said, reaching for the vessel. The room fell silent. Several delegates activated their emergency life support systems. "Captain," whispered Ambassador Crix of the feline territories through the translation matrix, "perhaps you should decline. There's no shame in—" "Oh, this?" Chen held up the chalice, swirling the contents gently. The liquid seemed to hiss and bubble. "Smells interesting. Reminds me of this coffee shop back on Luna. They roasted their beans with antimatter." Zelthara's compound eyes widened. This wasn't going according to plan. The human was supposed to politely decline, allowing the Vorthans to frame it as a lack of commitment to the negotiations. Instead, Chen was examining the poison like a wine connoisseur. "You understand," Zelthara said carefully. "This beverage is potent. Perhaps too potent for species with less robust constitutions." "Robust?" Chen laughed, a sound that somehow carried throughout the vast chamber. "Lady, my great-grandmother drank moonshine that could strip paint. My people put capsaicin in our food for fun. That's literally a neurotoxin that evolved to stop mammals from eating plants. We inject ourselves with weakened diseases to build immunity, then call it medicine." She raised the chalice in a toast. "Besides, I haven't had a proper drink since leaving Earth. Here's to productive negotiations." Chen drained the entire chalice in one go. The silence stretched for exactly 4.7 seconds as measured by the station's chronometer. Then Captain Chen smacked her lips thoughtfully. "Bit sweet for my taste," she mused. "Got any more?" Ambassador Zelthara's mandibles began clicking rapidly, the Vorthan equivalent of nervous stuttering. Around the room, delegates were frantically checking their life support systems and backing toward emergency exits. How are you?" Zelthara struggled to form words. "That was enough, Kethmoran, to kill a star whale." Chen shrugged. "Look, I appreciate the gesture, really. But you've got to understand, I'm from Earth. We have a plant called oleander that's so toxic it can kill you if you barbecue food on its branches. We have spiders whose bite causes your flesh to rot off, jellyfish that can stop your heart in minutes, and snakes that can kill an elephant." She gestured casually around the room. "We swim in waters filled with sharks, live on continents with bears and big cats, and our planet regularly tries to kill us with storms that could flatten this entire station. Every day on Earth is basically a survival challenge. The human leaned back in her chair, completely relaxed. On top of that, we spent centuries building up resistance to toxins. Alcohol is literally a poison. It kills bacteria, for crying out loud, and we drink it for fun. We eat fermented foods that would horrify most species. Hell, we even eat things that are actively fighting back. A small burp escaped Chen's lips, followed by what sounded suspiciously like a satisfied sigh. Plus, she continued, humans have these things called kidneys and a liver that are basically biological waste processing plants. We can filter out toxins that would drop other species in seconds. Evolution had to make us tough. Our planet kept trying to kill us. Zelthera was now openly staring. Around the room, delegates were whispering in hushed tones. The crystalline ambassador was literally sparkling with excitement. So, Chen said, pulling out a datapad, about those mining rights. I think we can come to an arrangement that benefits everyone. And Ambassador Zelthara, thanks for the drink. If you've got any more exotic beverages, I'd be happy to try them, always looking to expand my palate. The Vorthan ambassador looked down at her own diplomatic notes, then at the empty chalice, then at the completely unaffected human. Slowly she began to laugh, a sound like wind chimes in a tornado. Perhaps, Zelthara said finally, we have underestimated the species from Sol 3. Captain Chen grinned. Most people do. It's one of our better diplomatic advantages. As the formal negotiations began, word spread throughout the station. The humans had arrived, and they were far stranger and more dangerous than anyone had imagined, not because they carried advanced weapons or commanded vast fleets, but because they had evolved on a world so hostile that the galaxy's deadliest poison was to them merely an unusual tea. The mining rights were settled in humanity's favor within the hour.